Welcome, Chosen One.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Ace of Plays channel and to episode 2 of my custom card review series. Before we get into this, I just want to say thank you so much for all the amazing response to the first one. I was not expecting anything near this much positive reactions from you guys, and yeah, it was just amazing. So thank you. We are going to keep doing this. A lot of people have started posting custom cards after my first video, so looks like I'm igniting a spark here. But yeah, I got a few more cards for you today from the Discord. If you want to know how to submit these custom cards for these videos, just watch until the end and I will go over it as always towards the end. But yeah, why don't we just get into some custom cards. This first one comes from Sodium Chloride. This is Ellie Hall. He's an elf. A neutral elf, it seems. 5 power, 10 provisions. Deploy, transform an allied unit into a copy of another unit without changing its power. So this is basically Letho Kingslayer, except neutral, and you can transform any unit, not just this unit itself. This unit can't transform itself, so it requires another unit to be on the board, one that you would be willing to transform. So it has some upsides that Letho doesn't have, and has some downsides that Letho doesn't have. So people on the Discord were discussing this card, and someone said that it should be at least 11 provisions. I agree, just because it's a neutral card, and while it functions slightly different from the Letho Kingslayer, it's very similar and should not be comparable in strength on such an identical level, an equal level. But I do love the design, like being able to change any unit on your board into a copy of any other unit on the board. Could be really strong, really fun. But yeah, because it's a neutral and it resembles Letho Kingslayer so much, I would say put it up to at least 11 provisions, but very cool card. I really like this one, and people on Discord seem to like it too. This next one comes from Bobby Fett. This is Gaetan, or Gaetan, probably Gaetan. He's a Witcher, a neutral Witcher. As a deploy, on the melee row, damage a random enemy by 4 points. On the ranged row, damage an enemy by 2 points. 4 strength, 6 provisions. Now this card, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was Ancrate Marauder. Because of the ability to deal 4 damage randomly. If someone drops an engine, like first turn, you can just drop this. This of course is a lot better, because I mean, it's obvious. I don't even have to go into how this is so much better. This is too cheap at 6. Like it'll always be a 6 for 6 at worst. But you can really punish some early engine plays and stuff like that. So this definitely needs to be more expensive. But I do like it. Like there's a part of me that really likes this card. I'm not even sure why. I do enjoy, a lot of people hate that about Ancrate Marauder, how if you can't play an engine first turn against Skellige. I mean, it's usually fine now, but back in the day. But I kind of like that cards exist that can punish that a little bit. This being a neutral might also be a reason to bump up the cost a little bit, because this card can't be too good, because then everybody runs it. Then everybody's running a better Marauder. But I do love the design. I think it just needs a little bit of a number tweaks to become balanced. Alright, Fault Test the Great is back, this time with a rework of an existing card. This is of course a very viable thing to do for custom cards. He has reworked Sarthisius, who's now a 6 strength unit. Deploy, create a bronze card from your opponent's faction, and guess which one started in your opponent's deck to play a copy of it. So it's Imperial Diplomacy on a very big body, but if you guess wrong, then you don't get it. I mean, you know, often, like, if it's, like, any bronze card from the opponent's faction, like, you'll often be able to tell, like, which one is too garbage to even be played, and which one is very common in this particular archetype. So, I don't know, that's a big body to put on Imperial Diplomacy, and the downside doesn't feel... I don't think it's too big. So, this guy needs to be expensive. But, I mean, I love anything that works in Assimilate. So, this Sarthisius rework, that name is hard to say. I really do like it. Like, there's no provision cost on it. I think, actually, Foltest the Great did say on the Discord that he valued it at, like, 10 or 11 provisions. I could be mistaken. I don't know, that might sound good. 11. Let's say 11. And move on. But yeah, rework's perfectly viable. If there's a card in the game that you would like to see changed to a different ability, then that definitely works as a custom card. This next one is Otkel. It is from... Oh yeah, these next four were posted by Foltest the Great, but he said he just found them on Pumpkin's Discord or whatever. So I'm pretty sure he didn't make them, but he's the one who posted them. Otkel is a very, or like Utkel probably, is a very popular card, it seems, in the custom card community. I've seen so many versions of this guy posted, and it's awesome because he looks cool. And a Skellige card. 6 strength. Deploy in the melee row, boost allied warrior by 2. Now, I'm guessing it's boost an allied warrior by 2, and not boost allied warriors by 2. That would be really big. But on the range row, if you deploy him there, he will boost 2 warriors in your graveyard by 2. I definitely like the concept of Skellige like, buffing up their cards in the graveyard as like their version of carryover, you know? Like you have a warrior you're going to resurrect with Ace or with the Freya's Blessing next round. You do this, you play Utkel, you boost them up a little bit, you get even more points. It's uninteractive carryover, which is always scary. But you know, we would just have to see. Like, you could boost Heimdall with this and make him a little bit more durable when it comes down. So, honestly, maybe he doesn't even need the melee deploy. Maybe that would be a nice way to balance it. Like, just have this, the ranged one, and yeah. Because I think this could be really powerful as a way for Skellige to have carryover. So we really should be careful not to make this guy too strong, even though he looks perfect. Perfect. Moving on, another Skellige card, Cirrus Fearless, a card that used to exist in open beta, but they took it out for the time being. But they'll probably bring it back at some point. Maybe this is how they'll do it. 6 strength. Whenever you discard a card, boost a random warrior in your hand by 1. So again, warrior hand buff, not hand buff, but like this is hand buff, but like carryover. This is more of an engine, and unlike, you know, the other hand buff engines we have, this doesn't just keep boosting. Like, you have to be discarding cards. And that is a gold. Maybe bump down the strength a little bit. Like, we don't know what this is intended to cost, but probably bump down the strength a little bit, just so it doesn't have to cost like insane amounts. I mean, I don't know. Like carryover is scary. You really have to be careful with that. But let me know down below what you guys think about this. It's a cool design though. Like giving Skellige some carryover, more discard synergy is always welcome. This is a beautiful art, which I really want to see back in the game, so good going on that one. Moving on. Riordan. 2 strength elf for Scoia'tael. Deploy repeat order of adjacent traps. This is probably okay. The order abilities of the traps, you know, like by design are, you know, not the full extent of the trap's power. So it's not like you're just like replaying 2 traps. So it's probably fine. and it's definitely a way to get more value out of your traps. I feel like trap decks definitely need some more cards, potentially like this, to be perfectly viable. I mean, it's like deploy repeat order of adjacent traps. It's pretty cool. If this is priced properly, I'm not going to go into balancing this card right now, but if this is priced properly, then I think it would be a very cool card for Eldain. Now this is Elven Blade, an artifact for Scoia'tael. Always welcome. Always welcome, so I can play Macam Pyrotechnician. Deploy a damage an enemy non-elf unit by 6. Deathblow, summon 2 Scoia'tael Neophytes. Like, this could sum up to 10 points and a lot of removal. So this would be expensive. Really, really expensive. Like, I don't know if this Elven Blade has some lore implications that I don't know about. That would make a lot of sense with the summoning of the Scoia'tael Neophytes. Damage an enemy non-elf unit. I like this more than the original design. This had an open beta, which was like damage a non-Scoia'tael unit, right? Or was it non-elf back then as well? Like, either way, like the fact that it's non-elf and not non-Scoia'tael means that even in a mirror match, this isn't a completely dead card. So I like that. The non-elf unit, I think that it's perfectly fine. 6 is a lot of damage. And adding 2 Scoia'tael Neophytes on a death blow, which you're pretty much almost always going to get, that's really strong. Like, this would have to be so expensive. So, potentially busted, is what I'm going to say. But cool, really cool. Now we're moving on to Bobby Fett again. He's back with Azar Javed, who's a mage for Northern Realms, 5 strength. On the melee row, whenever an enemy takes damage, boost self by 1. On the range row, whenever an enemy gets boosted, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So, and 10 provisions, which means that, I mean, an engine at 10 provisions should be able to rack up mad stacks of points, which this guy can definitely do. Of course, on the melee row, like Northern Realms, they do have a lot of pings, a lot of charges, machines, Larry Narbalast, and turning all of those individual pings into boosts on this boy. Ooh, that's strong. Especially because you can like stack up charges, and the turn you put this guy down, you can boost him insane amounts. The ranger ability probably wouldn't be used all that much. Like, you don't have any control of whenever an enemy gets boosted. Deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Like, the ranged ability seems so underwhelming that it wouldn't be used, I think, compared to the melee one. But I guess it's cool that if he gets moved from the melee row, he still has potential usage in the future. But honestly, maybe you could probably cut this ability. Like, it's cool, and it's cool that like it's like mirrored abilities depending on the row, and it's like flexible. I really like that, but I don't think this would be playable at all as long as he has this. But it's nice as a backup if it gets moved, so he's a bit more movement resilient, which is always a good thing. Another one from Bobby Fett is Bitterness. Special card. Deal 3 damage to an enemy unit. If your opponent controls more units than you, deal 6 damage. I mean, this incentivizes low unit decks, which maybe isn't a problem anymore. Like, I'm not sure where the community stands on that issue anymore. But I mean, it's a pretty cool condition if your opponent controls more units than you. Like, that's a condition that exists in Gwent, but it's not really used at all as of right now. So I do like the condition for this. 6 damage again, just like with the Elven Blade. 6 damage is a lot of damage. And you play this in a deck where usually you will be able to do this. So this is a strong card. It will be highly costed. Of course, the fact that it can sometimes just deal 3 damage, you know, might take a provision off of it, but I don't know. But I do really like the the use of this particular condition. That's very cool. Very cool. Now back to sodium chloride. Vimme Vivaldi. Now, this guy is like the bank owner or something, like Vivaldi Bank, right? So it's a syndicate card. 5 strength, 7 provisions. Immune, zeal, deploy, lose all your coins, and give Vimme Vivaldi that many charges. And then order, gain 1 coin. So, like, the idea here is basically that you regain all your coins, which of course is really strong with Bincy, and because he does it 1 coin at a time, it's really good with townsfolk, or like townspeople, whatever they're called. There was some discussion on the Discord about making orders spend all your charges and gain that many coins, so it's just a 1 instance for townsfolk. But at that point, how useful is it, right? So I think both sides of that spectrum might be a bit weird. Probably the coolest interaction with this card, in my opinion, is the fact that you can take your coins and like store them up, almost like a bank. So you don't have to over profit potentially. Like you can just like